So, one of the reasons that people procrastinate and procrastination is a conscious choice. If we go back to what we were talking about last week, one of the things that we talk about was the procrastination, and it is a conscious decision, unlike indecision. And that's to delay or avoid taking action on decluttering, while paralysis is the inability to decide what to keep and what to discard. Procrastination is a choice, while paralysis is an emotional obstacle. Okay. So if you know what to do, if you know where to start, this is not indecision. Okay. This is different. If you know what to do and you haven't done it, then the question is, why not? Why have you been putting it off? So today we're going to look at a couple of the reasons, the honest to goodness reasons why. And then I'm going to give you some of the strategies that we've used over the last couple of decades to help people kind of pull themselves out of a slump and realize that you do have a choice. And the sooner you make that choice, the easier it's going to be moving on. Now, I have room. Okay. This is a disclaimer. I have room in my house for all of the books that I have, all of these great big notebooks, and I've got boxes of them. I actually have room. Okay. I've got room in my house. They're not taking up any space that is making anybody trip. There's no hazard in the house. They're put away in a climate controlled closet. They're perfectly organized. There's no reason, nothing is forcing me to get rid of them. Okay. I'm forcing myself to get rid of them for a variety of reasons we've covered on other programs. I don't want any of my relatives to have to go through them when I die. Okay. That's the Swedish death cleaning concept. We want to get rid of it so that our heirs don't have to do that. The next thing is I may move in the next couple of years. And if I do, I certainly don't want to take more boxes of stuff. And I have carted it from move to move for how many years? Who knows? Who knows what? I just keep getting bigger houses, right? But this time I'm going to be downsizing. I'm going to be getting a smaller house because I don't need a great big monster house. And I have the great big monster house right now because I have about 10 employees that work out of my house. And so they come on a rotating basis and they're here all the time. And it's kind of a great big happy house that we have lots of activity in at all times. But at the new place, that probably won't be the case. I'll probably get an office somewhere. They will come to the office and it will be more business-like. So one of the reasons that I'm downsizing is because I'm not going to get a storage unit. I've already decided that I'm not going to do that. And then I've already decided that some of the stuff, like the stuff that's in my books that I've been hanging on to for dear life, I don't need. I now have ChatGPT. Hooray for ChatGPT. If you guys are not familiar with ChatGPT, I got to take a quick sidebar. I believe it was Elon Musk and his team back in 2015 started this AI thing. And they've been progressing for several years. And in November 30th of 2022, it became available as an open source to the public. And I discovered it right around Christmas time. So I was about a month late getting on board with it. But it's kind of like a Google search engine. But instead of having all the ads pop up and then a website pops up and you have to read the website to find the information you're looking for, it kind of is like research on steroids. So you just ask a question and it like pops out the answer at you. And so anything that I was hoping to find in my books, searching page by page, I can now ask ChatGPT. And if it's a valid answer and it's pretty smart, it can give me an answer like right away. So I'm going to use that now instead of these old notebooks. So it's even more of an incentive to get rid of my stuff. It's like that moment I had when I realized, wait a second, I don't need all my books because now all those books are available. Most all of them are available on Kindle. And so on my smartphone, which is only this big, I can carry all my entire library of books instead of having a great big climate controlled room that has hundreds and thousands of books, right? And I had thousands of books. I think I had about 10,000 books at one point. And I'm an avid reader and I love books, but to cart them around from move to move, it just didn't make sense anymore. And storing paper when I could have it all on my phone at my disposal. You read a book and instead of trying to find a new place on the shelf, and this goes in the books that I've read, just take it off your library, right? It was awesome. I love it. All right. So let's jump over and talk about procrastination for a second. And I love this topic. This is just a great topic. I just love it. There are so many things that we don't think about until we think about them. And then we're like, hey, wait a second, I do have a choice. One of the reasons that people procrastinate decluttering their homes and getting rid of stuff that they either no longer need, want, or use is a lack of motivation. It's like me having all the books in my house. I have a place. There's really no reason to get rid of it. No one is making me. No one is making me. I'm a grown adult. I can do whatever I want. It's my house. Just a lack of motivation. There was no really good reason. There was nobody lighting a fire under me to do that. Okay. And so with a lack of motivation, there's no inspiration. So it's easy to say, oh, I got really busy. I'm taking care of other people. I'm doing other things. Life's meaningful and purposeful. Why would I go to a closet and pull out stuff that's not causing me harm and go through it and get rid of it? Lack of motivation. So we ask ourselves, what kind of motivation is going to spark our interest so that we will, in fact, go ahead and make the next move? What's going to make us do that? It comes down to goals. And so for me, the goal was, am I going to move at some point to another house? The answer is yes. We've been looking for a couple months. But if I do move, do I want to take all the books with me? And do I want to take all the boxes of notebooks with me? And the answer is no, I don't. So if I had to move today, and this is a question that I started asking about a year ago, because a year ago, the real estate market was really high. And we had several people come and knock on our door and they're like, hey, you want to sell your house? I was like, no, I love living here. This is so cool. But then I started thinking about it because our house has probably doubled in value. And it's just the weird real estate market that we're in. And so if I did sell my house and I were to move today, like let's say today I change my mind and I decide to sell my house, how fast can I get rid of all my stuff? And the answer is like, well, not very fast at all. I got a lot of stuff. And like you, I don't want you guys to get rid of anything that you're using. I don't want you to get rid of anything that makes your heart sing. But if you had to move today, would you have to put stuff in storage because you either don't know what to do with it, or you haven't made a decision about it, or you've been procrastinating having those conversations with yourself? And for me, I was just procrastinating. But if this is 2023 and I look into the future, my question is, how often am I going to use those books again? Now I've got ChatGPT, I've got Google, I have it once upon a time it was Ask Jeeves, right? This was before the internet was really popular. We had Siri and Alexa, and we had all these different search engines at our disposal. And so for me to have information, it was like, this is my information. I prize information, right? And so I didn't want to get rid of them. But now that I have new goals, maybe a new goal of moving to a new home, maybe a new goal of just downsizing the stuff that I have so that I don't one day have to worry about, well, I'm so old now and my family's going to have to go through all these notebooks. What are my goals, right? And then I have to take action on those goals, because if I don't take action, nobody's going to get rid of my stuff in my closets for me, right? Now, these are my happy bells. And I don't know if I ever told you about my happy bells, but my happy bells are my sugar-free dopamine high. And I have to share this with you because I use them all the time. What I'm looking at right now, right in front of me, are the happy bells that you're seeing right here on my screen. They're in my office right now, and I have them scattered all over my house. This is what they look like. Super cool. There's a little happy face on, where's my camera? There's a little happy face on both sides. Now, in a worst case scenario, if this sits on my desk and I'm having a sad moment and I look up from my desk, hey, there's a happy face looking at me. Yay, right? All right, so I have these scattered all over my house for this reason. In my house, whenever you do something cool, you ring the happy bell. Like, whoa, I just did something cool. So the reason this is exciting for me is because we've set this up so that my husband, all the employees, even pets can be trained with a happy bell. So instead of giving a dog a treat, you give him a happy bell. It's the same dopamine high for the dog. He's like, whoa, I did something right. It works for people and spouses as well, right? It works for kids. It works for adults. It's amazing. So in our business, every time somebody achieves something worthy of a happy bell, they ring the bell and everybody's like, oh, wow, look, somebody did something cool, right? Don't tell anybody, but I'll tell you a secret. When no one's here and I'm here by myself and I complete tasks on my to-do list, I ring the happy bell for myself. It's the same dopamine high and it makes me so happy. Now, I did leave links in the notes below because you guys are going to want happy bells, I know, for your own family. And the reason being is it makes such a difference when you reward yourself for taking action instead of procrastinating. Okay. So I did leave links in the show notes for these if you want to take a look at them and you want to learn more about them. They're very inexpensive. I think I bought a pack of 12 for about $30, and it's the best money I ever spent because we use them all day, every day. Now, here's how it works. My husband loses a pound. He jumps on the scale. What does he do? He rings the happy bell. Whoa, whoa. How much is it? And we all celebrate. He takes out the trash. He comes in the house. He rings the happy bell. What happened? I took out the trash. I'm like, yes. And then I ring the happy bell. Why? Because I'm happy that he did something on my to-do list. So everybody can help each other instead of you doing all the work yourself, right? So this is one way we can stop the procrastination by having other people participate in our joy. With no joy, it's easy to just have the lack of motivation because there's no celebration for the things that we've done. So I want you to start celebrating. And like I said, it's a sugar-free dopamine, because while I'd love to give you a piece of chocolate or some cheese, I find that makes me fat. And so the little ringing bell does not make me fat, and it gives me the dopamine high. I love it.